Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Aurogiri. Today's episode, as the title suggests, is on damage multiplication. So what is damage multiplication? What the heck is this video? So this video is going to be going over how damage in Onigiri is calculated and how to get stronger and how to do all those things with like littler, smallish effort. Well, not really small effort, but just the best way to do it. Why? Hello? Hello? Apparently they're attacking me. Caramel is attacking me. They're destroying me. Now they're posting an evil face. There, now they are the dead. Alright, so where was I going? I was going at you. So damage, multiplication, damage, calculation, all that stuff. So I'm not going to present to you a mathematical formula of how damage is calculated. If you want to go look at that and you understand how numbers work, by all means you can go in the wiki and look up damage. I believe there is a mathematical formula there. I don't full-heartedly understand it. But I don't understand it mathematically, but I understand like how damage works in this game using stats and stuff like that. You know, I don't have any good bargains. Oh, right, I forgot about this. I always forget to do this. Shenlong Nigiri. I'm gonna buy this like every day. I haven't bought it like all weekend since I got it. I keep forgetting. So, once I get to Sato Mine, I'm gonna talk about damage. They need help in Ice Cavern. Oh no. I was just talking about that. People who power level too quick, they don't have their friendships, they gotta do ice caverns. So, how damage works. So, you know, once I get there, I'll start talking about it. But, I don't know why I'm going to Sato. I just felt like changing the venue. So I'm gonna go run through this bird. Okay, so as most players know by now, the easiest way to get stronger is to have Skill Force Magatamas. Yes, Gemini, that is or Gaming, I'm sorry, Wolfpack Gaming. Yeah, that's the Gargoyle 110s. It's the, yeah, the Ice Gargoyle 110 Twin Swords. So, where do we begin with damage and multiplication and how to get stronger and how all that works? So at its basic form, now I've explained this before, I have a little theory for it called the Triforce method. So it's not really a method, it's more like just the Triforce damage. Oh nice, did you just make it? Oh well, I made it about early last week. It's failed like 2 smelts. So it's at plus 50, I think? Or it can go to plus 60. So, yeah, I got it to plus... It's at 50 right now, but it can go to 60. And it's failed 2 smelts so far and destroyed 2 button bees. So, it's being a little bitch. But, I like it. I got good skills on it. Misty Massacre. And Misty Massacre. And Spear Dance. And it comes with the Ogi, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so after Caramel's cut me and we made it to Sato, let's start talking about damage and all that stuff. So, at its basic form, the easiest way to get stronger is through Skill Force. So, Skill Force is achieved through Magatamas. Now, early game, the game's dialogue will tell you that Magatamas are something it's your defensive option. So you have weapons that are for power, and then it says, oh, you can use Magatamas for defensive things. Now, I don't know where I read that in story, but that's the biggest load of bull in the game. Magatamas is where all your damage comes from. You know, weapons help too, greatly, but Magatamas are far more important. So this is basically your build. This is what makes your character you. Anyone can make weapons, but not everyone can have the same Magatamas. Or at least that's how it was before. So generally what I'm saying here is what you want are skill force Magatamas. That is the easiest way to get is the easiest and best way to get your damage up. Everyone needs skill force, so there's no way to not have skill force. So how skill force works is here it says, I never understood what the type on a mag meant. We can get to that soon, but as you can see, I use these hunters. They're not even the best mags, but I'll use them because I have them. Hunters, what do they do? So it says they give you 40% skill force to all your rank 5 sword skills, and then 38% to all the bow skills of rank 5 and plus. So any move I use that has a V, a V1, or a V11, so Roman numerals, so any rank 5, 6, or 7 or higher skill I use will receive a skill force buff. So all moves have an innate skill force. Yeah, I know the hunter has a broken slot, but it has 7 crit, so whatever. I've had a hunter with 2 good slots and it literally gave me HPSP. Getting 3 rolls on a faded is pretty good, but it is what it is. So if we go to skills, you know, we're gonna go to weapon. Weapon, where's weapon? So Misty Massacre 5. So I have that right now. So Misty Massacre 5 skill force is, so skill force is basically, this is a skill and that's its force. So that is skill force. Misty Massacre has a skill force of 203. Now 203 is not that high. However, Misty Massacre is a move that hits 5 times. So how that works is it has 203 skill force per slash. Therefore, when you calculate its damage, it is a skill force of 1015 in total. Now, yeah, it's not going to be doing like, you know, I don't know, Spirit Blast Geki's going to go up and it's going to hit like a couple 100,000. It's not going to do that. How Misty Massacre is going to work is, let's say you go, like I can go fight Kaji on Hell, the boss in Basho Island, because he's only weak to rain, so people like having me there because I use a lot of rain. I can go hit him because he's weak to rain and I have rain, you know, like I'll hit him with my cross and I'll use Misty Massacre on that. And if I use my alcohol that gives me rain element, I can literally hit Kaji for 100,000 every time I crit and cut him. So every time I hit him and crit with the Misty Massacre, it'll hit him for like 100,000. So then that means if I hit him all 5 times and all 5 times crit, I've hit the boss for 500,000 damage with a rank 5 move. So that's pretty cool. So basically, as I was saying earlier, Misty Massacre's skill force was 203 times 5, because that's how many times I can potentially hit something. Boom, 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 boom. But at the same time, that means I have 5 chances to crit the enemy. So every time you attack, there's a crit chance that procs. So, you know, we mentioned a lot of things already that are affecting damage. So far we've said there's skill force, then there's critting the enemy to do more damage, and there's having element, and then there's all this other stuff. So, you know, there's a lot to how it works. So at base, you're going to want you want as much skill force as you can. So if you had, you know, now some people say, well, why do you only have 3 skill force mags and 1 Chiami? So that's usually the formula early game. You'd want, you know, Chiami, because how Chiami works is whenever you critical an enemy, you get healed by 3% of that damage back. So if I hit an enemy for 100,000 damage, I'm going to get, you know, 3,000 health back. Because, you know, you take that number, you divide it by 3, or no. You divide it by 100, then multiply that number by 3. So if I have 100,000, divide that by 100, well, it's going to be 1,000, and then you multiply it by 3, because it's 3%, so you get 3,000 back. I think that makes sense, but that should be how it works. But as I said earlier, math is not my best thing, but I understand how it works. Like, I'm not good at giving precise numbers, but I'll understand where we're going with it. So, okay. So we looked at the skill force. So therefore, how much skill force do I have? For twin swords, I have 125 skill force. And honestly, that is not a lot. The only reason I'm using these hunters is because I have good ornamentations on them, and because it lets me use bow and twin pretty much at the same time without much hindrance or any problems. They're dual mags for a reason. So, you know, yeah, this is going to be a long video. I can tell it already because talking about it will take forever. So skill force is important. So on my, like, I can't really afford to change my mags to show you guys different values because my inventory is so big and changing mags is sometimes crash your game. I don't want to do it. So you're going to have to take my word for some of the things I'll say. So when it comes to bow, I could equip Setsuna, Mango, Pineapple, and another pineapple or something like that. And I could have... I've seen myself have up to at least 250 bow skill force. So that's a lot. That's literally double the skill force I have now. And when I do that, it takes all 4 mags and, you know, it does all this. And I put it on, I've gone to Tanegashima, and I've shot a bird enemy with, like, Exorcist arrow and stuff. And it did, like, I don't remember the exact values, but it did, like, almost 200,000 damage at the time. So, you know, that's with 250%. So it's like that move. So obviously there's the attack of the weapon. So attack is very, very, very important. Now I know I'm jumping around a lot to say this, but attack is like the most important stat. You know, skill force is very important, but attack is super important. Like, if you have a weapon, you should get it to plus 100 because at plus 100, as you can see at the bottom of the weapon description, it says plus 5 critical, plus 10% attack. So what 10% attack means is it's going to take your weapon affinity plus your weapon's attack and then add those two numbers together. So all your things giving you attack, which are basically going to be affinity, your weapon's strength, and then attack bonuses from mags or whatever. And then it's going to apply a 10% bonus on top of that. So basically, put that in perspective. Well, no. I can't because crosses give you bonuses. So let me just equip my other twin swords. So these are the Dark Heaven Embus. They're where did they go? I did not push B or circle. The Dark Heaven Embus, so I equipped their attack. They have 17,945 attack, which basically means it takes the 3654 from my twin sword affinity, and then that gets added to my 12660 on the Embus. So I'm actually going to bust out a calculator for this. So where's my phone? Okay, so I should have a calculator on here. Calculator. So hopefully math checks out for once. So I'm going to hit 12660. We're going to add that with 3654. 3654. So that equals 16,314. So then what is 10% of that? So that should be 10% of this. Shouldn't that just be 1631? Is the Embu an Edo weapon? It is. It is the 105 twin swords. So then, so 10% of this should be 1,631. So if we add 1,000, so I'm going to add that to it right now. So I'm going to add 1,631 plus 1,631, And that number is going to give us 17,945. The same thing as my attack right now. So that's how attack is calculated. Attack will be calculated with, you know, as I just said, your weapon strength plus affinity plus the 10% bonus after. That 10% bonus is huge. That's almost an extra, that's an extra 1,500 attack, which is incredible. Do you need a recipe to be able to craft all the 105 weapons? To answer your question, the Dark Heaven Embu is an identifiable weapon. You do not need a recipe for it, you just identify it from stuff. However, like the Ice Talon Flogger or the D3 Cross, those are crafted weapons and you need recipes for them. However, there are other 105 weapons that are, you know, there's 105 identifiable, and then there's the 105 weapons. So for Twin Sword, it would be like Crossbolts. For Sword, it would be Galardia, Brigandia for Spear, etc., etc. Those you need a recipe for, and you need to build them, and some of them are a big pain in the ass to make. But they are ultimately stronger than the normal 105s, but at the end of the day, they're just materials to make better ones later. Hello, Kakashi. Yeah. So, I know I've jumped around a lot talking about damage, but we've gone over attack, and that's good. I actually went over one thing in full. So skill force as well. So how attack works in this game is that is your damage. That is your base numbers, and that's going to be your armor piercing, because there's no armor piercing in the game. That is all tied to attack. So the higher your attack, the greater you're going to pound through an enemy's defense, therefore the more damage you're going to do. Attack is very, very, very important. That's why getting a weapon to plus 100 is amazing and is essential. Like you can have the best mags in the game, but if you have a bad weapon, you're gonna do bad. The inverse of that is true. I can have, you know, D3 Cross, right? Like the best twin swords before our current update. But if I don't have mags for it, I'm gonna do bad damage. But because the attack on the D3 Cross is so high, I could literally go through Sato Mine and probably do it with no skill force, just because the attack on the D3 Cross is so high. However, because my hunters give me dexterity, so 2 dex there, and then another 6 dex there, so 8 dex, by taking these off, I'd lose a lot of attack power. So I'm going to remove it. I lose 500 attack. From 6 dex, I lose 500 attack. So I'm going to take this off too. I'll remove all my mags. So I'm losing health because of my ornamentations. I'm losing lots of stuff. Ornamentations are life. So this last hunter, we're going to take that off too, because it gives me 9 crit, whatever. So let's take that off. Okay, so we have a base 24. That's not bad. So oh, someone said good morning. I'll say hi. Hello. So let's go into Sato Mine and let's see how strong I am without skill force at all. So right now I have a Chiami which heals me upon critical hitting the enemy, and you know, I have low crit now because my mags, I took off all my crit. I have half as much crit as before. With 24 crit, it means I'm only going to critical every, you know, once every 5 hits. So I went in on Hell. I'm still doing a lot of damage, actually. Yeah, I can literally just R1 this whole dungeon. Now the reason I'm doing so much damage is because these weapons, although they do not give me skill force or anything, they actually have element on them. And now element is the other way you build up damage. So, now some people say, well, what's better? Do you want 100% element or do you want 100% skill force? And the answer to that is yes. I would love to have both of those things, but that's impossible. You know, what you want is max, like at end game times, you're gonna want as much skill force as you can. However, I'll let you know that skill force starts to taper off at around 200-250%. If you can achieve that much, you're better off having element and other things amplifying your damage. Because that's what the whole video is about, is multiplication, damage amplification. So these twin swords have 40 slice on them. Their main attack is slice because of the combo card I put on them. I can literally walk up to anything and hit it for 8,000 crits without skills, so that's really cool. My base skill force is 5. I don't have to worry about much. The Chiami actually gives me 5 dex, so that's helping me get stronger. So I have yet to actually hit something with a skill, or I actually did. And I haven't been healing too much. So let's go see. So my twin swords, as I said, they give you 40 lightning, 40 slice. So Misty Massacre is a 30% slice move, so it gets a buff from just being on the weapon. So I hit something for 72,000. So I should be at full health. I did it again. Cool. So Thunder Beast is going to gain a boost from both slice and lightning, so it should do a lot of damage. It did 57,000 a tick. Awesome. Cool. So this guy's he's weak to rain, so he took 100,000 damage on a crit, 50,000 normal. You know. So that takes us to our next element of how to get stronger. So, you know, skill force is the most important, but with enough tack, it doesn't really matter. If you could somehow manage to get like 60,000 attack, well then this game is going to be your oyster, because that puts you in a bracket higher than the enemy's defense was built for. Now I'm in a bracket higher than their defense was built for because this is an early game dungeon. I can literally walk through here with like cannons. Not really. I'm dead. Do you know why? Because I couldn't crit. But, you know. See, I'm not used to having no mags. I just hit him for 20,000. Wow, I hate these enemies. I hate this game. Like, I don't know. See, I'm level 115, 114, whatever I am. But I'm getting shit on because, you know, I don't have mags on. I literally have the strongest weapon you could possibly want up to a certain point of the game. Is it even possible? Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely it's possible. It's totally possible to hit 60,000 attack. I mean, it's very risky, but there's a Magatama called a Burai. And a Burai is a Magatama that says you gain 15% attack just by wearing it. So, but it also makes it so your weapons take like 1 billion more durability. Like 2.3 times more, I think. So, you know, I've had almost 30,000 attack if I put on all the Burais. And if I ornamented them to give me extra dexterity, I could have a lot of attack. Oh yeah, I could have a crap ton of attack. You know, if you maxed out your affinity, like if you had like a twin sword title, those guys are the bane of my existence. Yeah, exactly. Like I hate the ice things. So as I was saying, so Sunlight Strike, as you can see there, Sunlight Strike is a move that is impact and holy. These weapons have slice and lightning. So when I use Sunlight Strike on the Kappa, whenever they stop attacking me, you can see that it did 7,000s and then 14,000 crits. So if I hit R1 him, I hit him for like a little bit more than that. That's because of the element. So basically what I'm saying is you don't just need skill force, you don't just need element, and you don't just need crit. You need a mixture of all three things to be strong. I'm frozen. This is cool. Okay, so we went in here with no skill force, but we went in with element, because the weapon's going to be pure element. We went in pure element, pure attack. Now, that wasn't the only thing we came in here with. We came in here with the third piece of the puzzle. So as I said earlier, there's sort of a Triforce theology to damage. Not theology, but like a theory to damage. So a formula, let's say. So those familiar with the Triforce, they know there's like the three parts, they work together. There's power, wisdom, and courage. So, you know, power is straight up skill force. You're going to need power to get anywhere in this game. Courage is element. Because element only works if you're, like, skill force works for any skill you use of that weapon type. Or anything that's covered under your skill force plan will be buffeted by your skill force. So, you know. If you have a Satsuna, it affects all your rank 6s for every weapon. But if you have just a sword mag, it's only for swords. So when I have hunters, it buffs both my bow and twin sword affinity skill force. But so skill force is just power for that whole class. However, as I showed you earlier with Sunlight Strike, it is not buffeted by my weapon's natural element, so it's not going to do good damage. So, you know, it did okay damage because I'm really strong, but at the end of the day, it didn't do as much damage as it could have. So, where were we? So then that leaves the last part of the puzzle. So as I said, you know, courage is having element. So that means if you're going to have element, it means you have to use that element. You have to stick true to what you want. So I like using rain element. I consider myself a rain user, at least I did in the past. I might go back to it because I was thinking about a new build last night. But, you know, if I just stick to Misty Massacre, then I can use a lot of rain element and it's very beneficial to me. So far, I have two weapons that are going to carry me through the game for a while. Ice, Twin Sword, and Cross that both use Misty Massacre. So if I had a lot of Slice and Water, I would do a lot of damage with those moves. Now, since Sunlight Strike is neither Slice nor Thunder, it gets no buff. However, the only reason it's on there is because it came on the weapon naturally, and when I was putting on the Misty Massacre cards, it never took it away, so I said it's fate, I'll leave it there, and it was very helpful when fighting Satan. So that's why I have Sunlight Strike. So, and then Dark Heaven Embus, they're fire elements, so obviously I'd want Crimson Crosscut 7 on there because it gives you 42 fire, but my Blue Fang Blade would not be very powerful at all without skill force and stuff. So let me switch to that just for a quick second to show the difference. Now Blue Flame Blade 6 is incredibly powerful, so it might kill this thing. Yeah, okay, so 25,000. That's not too much, but let's try to Crimson Crosscut this guy. So that did 29,000, 5,000 on him. Not too much damage. Double Edge Cut will do like no damage. My Kiji Mooner, that did much damage to him. Okay. And Verdant Storm is an Oogie, and Oogies are just naturally strong, so that should kill it, no problem. I never really use Shield Slash, I don't know how strong that's going to be. I know this Kappa will freeze me if it hits me, so whatever. So I killed it, couldn't really see the damage. Blue Flame Blade 6. Oh, how'd you get behind me? Anyway. So that was boring enough, so let's leave the dungeon. So what's the third piece of the Triforce? That piece is Crit Force. Basically, if you want to do as much damage as you want, you can't just have pure skill force. Now, some players will be like, well, I have infinite Amara mags, and I'm going to put more skill force and more skill force and more skill force on them, because you can do it. You could be right now in the game, have 300 skill force, but unless you're packing element alongside it, it's not going to be as potent as you think. So Crit Force is the third piece of the puzzle, and the only real way to get Crit Force is to either make a 105 Magatama or to ornament your Magatamas with Unblinking Eye. Now you can't ornament all your Magatamas with Unblinking Eye because that's counterproductive as well. Unblinking Eye, as you see here, gives you Crit Force. I have 12 Crit Force and then 14 Crit Force, so 26 total Crit Force on this weapon, or on this Chiami. So if I go to status details, it shows you my Crit Force is 211, and that's because my accessory gives me 15 more. Naturally, your Crit Force is 170. So that means whenever you're critical, your moves are going to be doing a 1.7 times multiplier. So if my normal attacks do 7,000, normally your criticals would hit for, 70% more damage. And then if you got it to, if you can get your crit force to around 2 times, which is what 3105 mags would do to you, give you a rank 2 times multiplier, that means when you crit, all your attacks will do double damage. So that's awesome. So most players will strive to get a Chiami with double crit force, because what that means is when you crit, you heal, and that synergizes so that, oh, well, when I crit, it also makes me do more damage. So normally a blank canvas Chiami is just, oh, when I critical, I heal, and it gives me sustain. My Chiami gives me more damage. So I have another Chiami that would also give me more damage, but unless I was super spec'd into rain element, I wouldn't use it. And the reason for that is because I have a Chiami that I made with double rain element ornamentation. Very rare indeed. It gives me 36 rain element, which is a lot of element for one Magatama to give from ornamentation alone. So if we go to Chiami, somewhere in here, CH, it's one of these ones. I think that was my first Chiami. Tried to get crit on it, I couldn't. This one, I got crit on it, it was whatever. That one was my first attempt at crit force, couldn't get the full effect. What's this one? That was Heavenly Shield, it gave me Sword Affinity, don't really want to use it. That was Heavenly Shield, gave me Dark, don't want to use it. That one is my beautiful 17 Rain, 19 Rain, 36 Rain Chiami. When I was using my Rain skills, you know, my damage went up a lot. So there's that. So let me think here. So let me put my mags back on. But basically, if you want to do the maximum amount of damage, like I don't want to go back in. I will go back in and attack things just to show you the difference skill force makes. But you know, skill force is very important. But attack is also important. Everything's important. So the ultimate formula, in my opinion, is you're gonna have 4 skill force Magatamas. It's either, like, you know, you're gonna want that. That's how it's gonna be. So what you're going to want is crit force only really works well if you have critical. You know, if I don't have at least 40 critical, you shouldn't be investing in crit force. Because, you know, 40 is like the minimum crit you ever want to see. 50 is exactly where you want it to be. And anything higher than 50 is superfluous, because at that point it's still going to be yes or no, did I crit? It's always going to be a coin flip. And that's all it's going to come down to. You could have 80 crit and the game could still be like, nope, 20% you didn't get the crit. I mean, sure, you're going to crit more often than someone who's 50%, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be yes or no. You know, you can have a 80% smelt in this game, but it's still yes or no. I failed 95s, I passed 20s. This game is very weird with its numbers. You know, if it's not going to happen, it probably won't happen. That's how the game works. But sometimes this game's RNG's out of whack. But at the same time, it isn't. But, you know, it's just how it is. So how to do damage is you're going to want skill force. But if you ornament all your skill force mags with just more skill force, you're basically all brawn and no brain. You're missing out. I mean, sure, if you have 300 skill force, yeah, you're going to do a lot of damage, but there are better ways to go about it. So if you're an elemental user, so element is courage, like I said, you have to be invested in that element. So for certain weapon types will desire different elements. For the physical weapons like power and spear and stuff like that, mostly power. Let's just talk about power and twin sword. One element that they want to work with is slice element. Slice element's a physical move, and that's usually part of most slicing moves in the game. So, and the ornamentations, like the one I have on Hunter's Magatama here, Faded Contractor has a chance to give you both critical, slice, and then it has a chance to give you HP or SP or dexterity. So I have one of them, baby. Yeah, so this Hunter gives me 5 critical, 6 dex, and slice element plus 8. As a twin sword mag, it's very good. So the dexterity gives me bonus affinity, so that gives me more attack. The critical gives me more crit chance, and the slice is going to give me more element, so when I'm hitting things with slicey moves. So in that regard, Misty Massacre and Crimson Crosscut, and Blue Fang Blade, and Double Edge Cut are all slice moves. And also Thunder Beast and Violet Strikes are as well slice moves. So when I'm wearing a Magatama with Slice, all my moves are getting buffeted by a little bit. Most moves are going to be, like most elemental moves, are 70% of like the elements. So like when I say element, I'm going to mean raw element. So like lightning or fire, water, all those things. And then you have the physical elements that are just, this is a slicing move, this is a stabbing move, which aka pierce, and then an impact move, which is bashing people. So generally ornamentations, like the ornamentations you want for your mags, are going to be Fated Contractor. Fated Contractor gives you critical, and it can give you slice. So if you can get crit slice, that's great, because most weapon types use those. However, if you're a wand user, you just want Heavenly Shield, and you just want pure raw element. So basically, how element works in the damage calculation is, like I said at the beginning, Misty Massacre has a skill force of 203, right? So let's say when I have Slice element and Rain element, what that does is, let's say I had 40 Rain element, 40 Slice. The move itself is 30% Slice and then 70% Rain. So if I have 40 Rain, it's going to take, it's going to take that 40 Rain. Like, let's say if you had a move that was 100% element, so like let's say Fireball on staff is 100% fire. So if I have 50 fire element, my Fireball skill force will go up 50% in damage. So if its skill force is 100, it's going to have a new skill force value of 150. Now that's the difference between skill force and element. Skill force takes whatever, like skill force percent, will take whatever the force of a skill is and multiply it by that percentage. So that means if you have, let's say, 200 skill force, but on your skill force mags, you've got like a total of, I don't know, 20, like if you have like 40 fire element, let's say, and then, among your different things, you got Heavenly Shield to give you 40 fire. So let's say you have 200 skill force plus 40 fire element. So Fireball is going to go up, its skill force, let's say it changes from 200, is going to go to 280. So then that 280 is going to be multiplied 200%. So its skill force is now going to become like 400, something like that. And it's a very quick fire move. It's not the most skill force damaging move, but it's just saying for damage calculation purposes. The word for it is multiplicative. So element increases the base damage of the skill before that value is multiplied and added to your attack, and then that damage is inflicted to the enemy. So then, awesome, that's the best way to do damage. So then what's the next step? The next step to that is, that's how I played for a long time, just to say that first. On my spears, I have a Literature, which is like a 90 skill force mag, the best spear mag early game. I was very lucky with it and got 24 rain element on it, and I used Water Dragon, and everything was good. So my Water Dragons would always hit like, let's say 20% harder than anyone else's, just because of how skill force works. I'd have that edge. But at the same time, my Ice Blossom might not hit as hard as someone else who had Slice element, as opposed to me without it, because Ice Blossom is Slice and etc. So basically, element is one of the best ways to increase your damage, but you have to have your skill force down pat first. Generally, how you want to build for damage is what I was going to say earlier. The next step is, let's say you have a 50 crit and you're constantly hitting criticals. So if you're always hitting for 70% more damage, well, who's doing more damage now? The person who has a bunch of element, or the person who's always getting that 70% multiplier? The person with the 70%. So critical, if you're constantly critting, you're always doing damage. You're always doing super, super damage. So I'm pretty sure people are starting to notice there's a trend here. I mean, people already know this, but how it goes is you have your base attack, you want a really powerful weapon, that's great. Then you get the skill force to buff those skills. So on your weapon, you're going to want skills that are at least level 5, level 6, level 7, Ogies, etc. So the stronger your skills, the more damage you're going to do, because they have more skill force. So you have 4 skill force mags, you have 200 skill force. So you do that. So what we do there, whatever I just said, you have your skills, you have your skill force. Good. That's the first step. Next up, you ornament. So you get 2 of those mags, you ornament them, you get Fated Contractor, let's say, and you manage to put a total of 15 crit on each of those mags. Now, after most players have built their characters and they put points into dex and wisdom and stuff, and they got a plus 100 weapon that gives them 5 crit, every player's base crit should be around 20. So if you have, 20 base crit, and then you have a total of 15 times 2 on your mags, so that's the ideal. You want to get 15 crit on 2 skill force mags, and then that'll give you around a total of 50 crit. Now sometimes it's not going to happen, that's in a perfect world, especially with 105s later. Those are the best mags. Generally you're going to have your crit divided amongst 3 Magatamas, and then you're going to have a 4th Magatama that's going to be ornamented differently. Because hopefully, unless RNG likes to, bend you over backwards and have its way with you, with 3 mags you should have, like, let's say, like my first hunter, like this is a perfect example of RNG right here. This hunter has 5 crit. This hunter has no crit, or has 7 crit. So that's what, 12 crit added right there. And then this one has 9. So crit 5, crit 4. So that's probably my best hunter, typically speaking. So we have what, 9 crit, so I have additional, I had 12 plus 9, so 20 something crit, whatever. I don't really care about the numbers, but you know what I'm saying? If you have, if you can get 10 crit per mag, well, that's the equivalent of 30 crit. So once you get that 30 crit, you'll be hitting that 50 crit threshold, no problem. So what do you do after that? So once you have that 50 crit, you've guaranteed a 70% increase to damage. After that, it's up to you to get your last mag. So your last mag, more skill force isn't going to really matter after 200, 300 anyway. So what I would recommend saying is you're either going to want more attack or more element or crit force. Now, crit force is the third part of the equation. And right now I do apologize for how non-linear this description is, because I'm just going with it is and, going with the flow, talking about it. Because that's how my videos are. It's not just point and click, talk about it. Because I could have literally started this video saying, oh, if you want to do damage, get skill force mags, get crit, get like 15 crit on 2 of those mags. Then on your 3rd mag, you're going to want an element that you like using. And if you don't have a common element that you like using, you use whatever you have, because your weapon is that diverse. Then you'd have 15 crit on 2 mags, so that way you can get at least 50 crit. So get at least 50 crit on as few mags as you possibly can. And then on the rest of your mags, you either put element or crit force. Like if you stack one element, put that element. If you use a bunch of different elements because you don't really care, then you just want to stack crit force. So if I could have, let's say, 2 105 Magatamas, and each of those give me enough crit to get around 45 to 50 crit, then by all means on my other 2 mags, I'm going to put other damaging sources. So like crit force. So let's say, so if I get 30 crit on, like, let's say anywhere, let's realistically say 25 to 30 crit force on 2 other mags, that's going to boost my damage from a 70% multiplier when I critical to a, the first one, if you get 30, like my Chiami is like 26, right? So that's another 26% more when I critical. So instead of my crits doing 1.7 times, they do almost 2 times damage, so 30% more. So it's not that, I was wrong to say 50%, so it's 30% more damage. So then, what if I get my crit force, so you get that 60. So you have 200% skill force, you have 50 crit, and then you have 60 more crit force. That would mean all my criticals do 2.3 times damage. So we've almost doubled that multiplier by doing that. So that's one formula to get strong. Now, honestly, I think it'd be better just to have one mag with 30 crit force, so preferably a skill force mag. You know, try your best for it. And then you want to have... So the build I was thinking, I talked about earlier, a new build I wanted to try was, what I wanted to try was having 2 105 Magatamas, you know, ornamented with crit, and then you'd have 1 Magatama ornamented with as much element as you can, and then a final one to have as much crit force as you can. Now, once you've done all those things, so let's say for me, I'd use rain element. I'm a rain user, that's my deal, that's what I do. So, you know, when it comes to Gargoyle, I only want Sleet Sword because I like Rain Element. That's my thing. I love those moves. I love Misty Massacre. I love Water Dragon. Love Ice Blossom. Love Icicle Arrow. I love Aqua Needle. I love all those moves. That's what I want to have. So generally speaking, I could have, you know, 105s, like 2 105 mags for that class. Then I could have an Element mag of like, you know, now it doesn't have to be just an Element mag, but it could be a Skill Force mag with a butt ton of element on it, so that's just even more multiplicative. And then, you know, then you have some mag that's another skill force mag with crit force, and your damage would just be so much multiplication and so much amplification that you would out DPS someone else that has like 300% skill force. And my friends have tested this. My wand user friends, they have 3 other 105s. But right now they're all saying that, you know, just having 2 of them with enough element, because wands have 100% element on their moves, is enough for them to go literally, they prefer that than just pure skill force. Because when you amplify your skill before it gets multiplied by skill force, and then that gets criticaled, and then that critical gets crit force amplified, and then you have high attack from a good weapon, when you add all that stuff up, it's like, wow! Oh my god, that's amazing. Like, think of it like building a burger or a meal, right? Like, let's say you have a burger. So the basic burger is, your weapon is the patty, and, you know, your mags are the bun, because you cannot have a burger without buns. So you have to have mags. So you just have skill force, it's just meat and bread. This is pure skill force. You did what you did. You made a burger, but you're bland. So you put critical on it. You know, that's like putting mayo and spice and making it taste good. Or else, you know, they have to have some appeal to it. Critical is probably the most important thing. So that's what you put on first. Then you want to get more fancy. You put on elements. You put like a special sauce, and, you know, you flame broil it and use a special technique. You know, that's when you customize it. You personalize it. You make it your own. You make it element, you know. And then you have crit force, then that's advertising, and you like make it awesome and people want it, and it's just always more effective. You know, it's a stupid analogy, but basically what I'm saying is, if you just go pure skill force and pure skill force and pure skill force, you've literally just made a burger that is, you've made a $12 burger that is like bun and like 6 patties. And it's like, yes, you made an awesome burger, and it's just going to give you a heart attack, and it's going to taste good, just raw meat, but, you know, it's not raw meat, but, you know, it's just pure meat. But what I'm saying is, when you do all that stuff I was saying, you know, you get the skill force, then you get crit on those mags, then once you get your crit down pat, you make another one with element, or one with affinity, or one with, you know, element or affinity or crit force, you're going to start doing a heck of a lot more damage than someone who's just raw skill force. Now, obviously, that's different. So if I'm just 3 hunters, there's no way I'm doing the same damage as, like, some big, bulky, skill force guy who's got all the 105s. That's not true. What I'm talking about is mostly the same mags. It's going to come down to your ornamentations. So if we have John Bob and Bo Jim, and they both have 3 dancing waters and a lion dog, if Joe Bob just keeps putting like extra twin force skill force, extra twin force skill force, extra twin force, or twin sword skill force, etc., 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 he's just going to have, you know, pure skill force, whatever. But then you have like John Bob or whatever the fuck, whoever it was, you know, someone like me who, let's say they get a rain element on a lion dog or something stupid, or a crit force on something, and then I'm sitting at, let's say, I'm under half health. I have 300 skill force, but then I'm holding a gargoyle weapon that gives me element, and then I have more element, and I'm using those moves, and Bob's just using like something that's just a really powerful weapon. What I'm saying is the one who has all those other things, skill force plus critical plus crit force plus element plus affinity, is going to out DPS someone who is just using skill force and attack. And then titles come into that too. So people say, well, there's the affinity title and then there's element titles, and that's basically the breakdown. You don't want a crit title. That's honestly a waste of DPS. Honestly, what I'd say is the best titles in the game are Aurogiri Kenshin and then the affinity titles. Aurogiri Kenshin is the title that gives you like slice, impact, holy, fire, all this good stuff. So for players that have a bunch of skill force, you get that title, it gives you more slice, and then you're a sword user, that's going to make a lot of your sword moves stronger than someone who just doesn't have like that sort of thing. So I hope what my message is getting across, that the best way to do damage is, skills, have a skill force, element will buff the base skill force before skill force takes effect. Then after the skill force takes effect and you critical, the move gets amplified by 70% because you criticaled, and then if you have more crit force, it can go up to double damage instead of just 70%. And then your 3105 mags should give you 200 per double damage anyway. And if you get crit force on another mag, you'd be at 2.3. So you do more damage, and it's all just about multiplying your damage and amplifying it. If all you do, it's basically like a workout too. If you could build your arms as much as you want, and you could punch someone really hard, but if you keep missing leg day and buddy over there does a full body workout, let's say it takes you 2 months to get your arms jacked, but it takes him 6 months to get his arms and his legs and his core all together, who's going to win the marathon? It's probably going to be the guy in the car, and he's getting carried. But what I'm saying is, if you have all that stuff and you build your character the way it's meant to be built, and you have critical and element, because Fated Contractor, great, awesome ornamentation. You're going to get critical, you're going to get element, you're going to get SP, you're going to get HP. What you'd want is, generally for most classes, you're going to want crit slice HP, crit slice SP, crit slice HP, crit slice SP. You want a mixture of that, because more SP means more damage per second, more HP means you can take more hits, but later on that dies down. But I'd say the best way to DPS is Fated Contractor, get a lot of SP, get a lot of critical, and then a lot of element. Because let's say in a perfect world I got crit slice SP, crit slice SP on one mag, and then one with crit slice HP, and then one with crit slice HP, crit slice HP, or SP. So on average, you're going to get about 8 slice a mag. About 6 to 8 slice on a Fated if you get slice at all. So let's say that's 16 slice times 3. So 16 times 3, so you got 30, and then you got 18, so is that 48? I think that is. So 48 extra slice element. So you've got 48 slice just from your mags. You have a title like Aurogiri Kenshin gives you 15 more, so that's going to be, 52 or 53 plus another 10, so 63 slice. So that's going to be 63 slice element. Then you get a cross weapon. So let's say we have D3 cross in our case, so 40 extra slice. So then that's going to be 103 slice element before you even get going. That's 100 and some element. So that's going to greatly increase your damage. Your critical is going to be, so let's say on average you get 6 crit per ornamentation. So 12, 12, 12. So that's going to be 36 crit. You're going to have about 56 critical. You're going to have a crap ton of slice, and you're going to have, let's say every SP roll was an average of 12. So same thing. So 12, 12, 12, 12. 24 SP% per mag. So that's going to be like 72% more SP, and you're going to have so much SP that you can just attack for days. And then, you know, that's awesome. Now, some classes like Bow don't really use slice. They don't have any slice moves, so they don't gain anything from the slice. But what they want is the crit, and that's awesome. But basically, that's the formula. The formula is, I'll say it again for the final time, because after this, I'm gonna stop the video, because I probably beat this thing. Like, you know, I keep beating the dead horse of how to do damage and stuff. But you know, I'll go kill some enemies just to show you. You know, I'll go attack something. Because remember, earlier in the video, we had no skill force, just a little bit of crit force in Xiaomi, and I'd hit things for a lot of damage. So let's go see what I do with 100% skill force. So 9,000, 10,000. Now that's from my normal attacks. Now I think that increase in damage is coming just from having that extra slice and the extra dex, because that increases my attack power. So, you know, I'm doing 9,000, 10,000 normals. Wow, you're so good at this game, Kappa. Okay. So we probably won't go as deep as we did last time. It wasn't really deep at all, so I hit it with R1. What was that 7,000? So 184,000. That was way more than before, I'm pretty sure. So 129, 118. So the reason those numbers are different is because every time you attack, your weapon has like damage variance. So like weapons have a low roll and high roll, and that's always calculated. You know, before Sunlight Strike was dealing 6,000 damage a tick because I had no skill force and no element, but now that I have 125 skill force, it can hit for 27 a tick on that enemy because I think he was weak to those elements. But it is doing a way more damage. Oh, my Kijibuna leveled up. Awesome. You know, 28, 24. Slice, boom, 65. So if that attack would have criticaled, it would have been 100,000 again. So I remember we did a lot of damage to the fire guys in here, so I want to go hit one with Misty Masker again. Okay, where are you? So 157 normal. That was our crit damage before. So that just shows how important criticals are. I can't critical him. Oh my god. Crit. No, I didn't crit. Is that a quiet zeal? Oh, give me that. Well, you know, that's why having 50 crit is important. I'm at 44 and it doesn't happen often, as it should. There's 60% saying no, and there's 44% saying yes, you know. But that's how damage is amplified. So then the last note is that there are some alcohols that give you more damage as well. Those being like the Tail of Genji or Miss Tengu. Miss Tengu is an innate attack boost and it gives you 30 mountain. So that's awesome. But for me, Tail of Genji is going to be 36 rain element. So if we add 36 rain element, this thing's going to kill me because these things are OP. I hit it for almost 300,000 because I added that 36 rain to, there's 144. You know, they won't buff it this, but these guys are annoying, so I want to just get out of their way. So 166. So let's see. Oh, that's Aurelia. Okay. So what do these do? 66,000. Now these weapons already have rain element on them. I think about 20 rain. So the 20 rain plus the 36. So I have 56 rain element right now when I use these. But these weapons have a lot less attack than the cross. They only have 15,000 attack. The cross has 2,300 more. So let's hit this thing. 86. I don't even know if that was a crit or not. Oh, what about this move? I never used this move. 30,000? Not bad. What about this Ogi? How strong is that? Oh, almost 100,000. That's pretty good. Not really. I should be hitting way more, but the move isn't leveled up yet, which means that skill force values aren't that high. But yeah, like that's damage multiplication. So as one final reiteration before I go, you need skill force, but raw skill force is not enough. If you can have 4 skill force mags, essentially, let's talk end game. So if you have 3 105 mags and then another mag at the end, you have, you know, let's say you get 2 105 mags that give you crit and crit. So if you got, let's say, 2 Dancing Waters or 2 Sky Rendering mags, and on those 2 mags you got 15 crit, like that'd be awesome. Even if that was your only ornamentation on it, that's great. Whenever you're ornamenting for Fated Contractor, critical is the bare minimum of what you want. So let's say you get 30 crit in those 2 mags, you're at 50 crit, okay, you're in the clear. At that point, you're either going to want to put on an element if you like stacking element. So most sword users might want lightning for Thunder Beast and Thunder Slash, Lightning Slash, all that good stuff. Or they might just want to continue to try and get Slice element. Or they might just want more crit, because, you know, sword users are like that. They never have enough crit. But, so you get that crit down pat. Now that's a perfect world. It's typically not going to happen. Generally, in that kind of scenario, people are going to get about, they're probably going to see about 10 crit a mag. You know, on average, you get about 10 to 12. So, you know, 10, 12, 10, 12. And then the last one, let's say you're at like 40 some crit. What I would do is I would ornament the first ornamentation with Fated Contractor and get about, let's say you get like 8 crit that roll and you're sitting at like 53 crit. On that last ornamentation, I might try to put crit force on it. Because at that point, if you know your build already has your crit down pat, more crit isn't going to increase your damage. Once you hit 50, that extra crit is superfluous. It's just now we're like 58% more often to crit, but as I said, it's either you crit or you don't, and it happens all the time. So at that point, you're better off gambling, you know, trying to get Unblinking Eye to give you some crit force. And especially if you're on a Dancing Water mag, because like if you're using twin swords or bow, Unblinking Eye has a chance of giving you more affinity as well. So let's say you got, let's say it's Dancing Water, and let's say you got like 10% twin force skill, twin sword skill force. Big Malik Custom says, does Big Dipper stack? I've never used multiple Big Dippers, but it might. I don't know which one you can activate twice, but Big Dipper, what's that one? It gives you like 3 holy and then an attack boost. I think the holy will stack, but the attack boost does not stack, because it's the exact same attack buff happening. Like if you activate 2 Big Dippers, I'm pretty sure it just gives you the extra holy. Like it'll give you like 6 holy instead of 3. I don't remember its value. But I think the attack boost will not stack, but the holy element will increase again. So generally that means it's not as good as activating just 1. You're better off just saving it for later in the dungeon. So that said, like, you know, you have a chance of getting twin sword affinity and crit force. Like let's say you got 15 crit force twin sword affinity on a mag that already has slice and crit. Oh my god, you're now a god. And then that frees up your last mag for unlimited potential. So then you get some random mag that fits into your chakra count. So generally speaking, if you did Fated on all your 105s, you'd be left with 14 chakra. I think Unblinking Eye is only 1 chakra cost. I have to go check actually. I want to know that right now. So let me go to ornamentation. Hopefully this doesn't crash my game. Burai, let me go ornament you. Okay, so where is... Unblinking Eye. Unblinking Eye is Purity 1. So Unblinking Eye is 1 chakra. So if you do ornament Unblinking Eye, so let's say you get that crit down, you get all that good stuff early on in your 105s, and then the last one, let's say you tried for double Unblinking Eye, let's say, you know, go big or go home, as they say. Let's say you do get that 25, 30 crit force, and then you're sitting on like 18 extra twin sword affinity, or maybe you get 2 decks, whatever. That's still going to be useful if you're a bow or twin, but I mean, it's a really good option for them. But the crit force is all you want in any other class. So, you know, you get that all down pat, you get your crit force and all that. So then that will actually free up 1 chakra if you do that method. So by doing that, you actually have access for 15 chakra on your last ornament, on your last mag. And that can really make or break the game. That 1 extra chakra, you never really know how good that is, because some mags, they're like 13 chakra base, and you could actually put another 2 Unblinking Eyes on it, as opposed to 1 Fated Contractor, or being forced to use 1 Confining Terror, or double Confining Terror, because you might want more, I don't know, whatever. Like this thing here is more skill force. Like if you're using twin swords, this can give you an extra 12% skill force. So if you had some sort of mag that was like a low chakra dex mag, and you just put this on and you got extra twin skill force, well, that's useful. You know, there's lots of things you can do. Yeah, Confining Terror is 1 chakra. So let me try and see, because I know spears. Let me try and see what a Gemini is worth. I know this video is going really long, and it's more or less just me thinking about it and us working through it together, but you know, when I'm thinking about a new method of something, I want to look through it. Look, like I want to see it through. So there's a perfect example. So let's say we're Odachi, right? And we have an Akabono. Now, Akabono is a very high skill force mag. That's 47%. Now, usually they give about... Usually the rank 5s mags will give you 45%, and the rank 6s give you about 50. So Akabono is 13 chakra. So let's say we free up... We now have 15 available chakra at the end instead of 14. On an Akabono, you could put double Confining Terror for extra crit if you didn't get it before. Or you could put, you know, double Unblinking Eye on it for more crit force. That's the difference 1 chakra makes. I mean, you could equip a vanilla Amara, but there's really no point. Because generally we'd count that 14 chakra was all you'd have left. But it really all comes down to RNG. But basically what I'm saying is, you know, that crit force is there. It's only 1 chakra cost if you get it. Cancer is 16 chakra base, so... Poor spear users, oh my god. What I'm looking for is Gemini. Oh wait, shouldn't I just be searching by chakra? That'd be easy, wouldn't it? Okay, that again. Okay, so what do we have underneath 15 chakra? Like, what is the difference? That's what I want to know. Okay. So Chigaya, we were talking about that last night. That one's a really awesome final touch on bow, because it gives you 25% affinity and pierce element. And on this mag, you could put like Unblinking Eye for more dex and more affinity, or more crit force. But ultimately, you don't want that crit force and stuff. What is a fear mag? What does that do? Bow affinity. Yeah, that's garbage. Don't touch that. Michizane, interesting. Pineapple, very awesome one. You could put, like, you know, pretty cool ornamentations on that. It's a great bow mag to have. Low chakra. Hongon for axe, you could put that there, put extra stuff on it. It's low chakra, low chakra. You don't want to look at catfish. Lion Dog for twin swords. Once again, like that's a low chakra mag that you could put just about anything on it. Well, no, you only have 11 chakra, right? So you can't put double faded on it. You could put faded if you wanted. If you needed more faded, you could put faded and then unblinking eye. But at late game, it's all going to be your 105 mags are all going to take you 49, 49, 49, and that's going to leave you with 14, 15 chakra left. So the secret to max damage late game is just getting your good ornament, getting your great mags, getting good ornaments on them, and then finding another mag that's going to either give you, those mags already give you crit force. So you need the critical to get that buff, because if you don't have, I'm going to finish this thought. You just want to get those 3 105s, or maybe even 2 in your case. Sometimes you don't need 3 if you have another skill force mag. Like if you had, let's say 2 105s, and then you had, if you had 2 105s and then 2 perfect Amara Magatamas, that might even be better than just having 3 105s. Because now I say Amara because Swords of Infinite Amara, and it's a really good Magatama. So let's just say you have, you're a sword user, you use Galardios, and the Inferno sword from Gargoyle, so you have a lot of fire element from your weapons. So let's say you have 2 105s, and they both have like 15, a bunch of crit on it. And then you have an Amara that you managed to get like 40 fire on because you have infinite and nothing better to do with your life. So with that 40 fire Amara, you put that on, and then you have another Amara that's like 30 crit force. You probably could do way more damage, maybe, potentially, than someone else with just 3 105s and an Asugi or something. Like maybe, like that's if you use a lot of Phoenix Slash and Crimson Flame Blast Smash and things like that. But there's never a perfect formula, it's just how it is. But I'm just saying, like, that's how damage works. Now on Xbox, this is my last note. On Xbox, they have glitches to get perfect ornamentations. And I don't know what their mentality is, but they believe like attack is the only answer. So what they tend to do for ornamentations is they will not do critical. They'll use like Fierce God's Focus on their weapons to get crit, which is dumb. But what they'll do is they'll get Magatamas that they ornament with skill force, because some ornamentations give them extra skill force. So they'll turn Amaras into, like, they'll add like 20 skill force, 20 skill force. So Amaras become like 90 skill force mags. So they go 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. So then, what is that? 9 times 4 is 360 skill force. And that's it. And they think, oh, I'm amazing. But ultimately, they're missing out on that crit factor. Honestly, it'd be really good to have 3 Amaras with 90 skill force, and then just have 1 Amara with, like, I don't know, like a bunch of crit, but, like if I was in that case and I could have perfect ornamentations, this would be a whole different video. I wouldn't even need to make these videos. It'd be that easy. But, I'm getting off topic. I have so much to say about this video and so little to say at the same time. Because ultimately, I'll say it one final time. You need skill force mags with crit, and then you're going to need another one with either critical force or element, depending on how you play. And if you can do that, and you can get good weapons with good skills that match what you're doing, then you'll do like the most damage you can ever think possible. Like you're going to be maximizing yourself. And there's always going to be room for error, and there's never going to be a perfect build, because perfection does not exist in Onigiri. But with that said, I hope you guys learned anything. If you guys have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments later. I do apologize for how long this is and how long it took. I basically just said the same thing 5 different times. But, if that's how many times it takes to tell people they need crit and they need element and they need crit before they get anything else, like it's a pyramid system. You need skill force mags, that's your foundation. Then you need crit on some of those mags. Once you have that, then you could go for the cherry on top, which is, element, and then like crit force, which is like It went from like a pyramid to like an ice cream. So, you know, you got your bowl, you got your weapon, that's your bowl or your cone or whatever. And then, you know, it's like you have a really awesome weapon, so that's like the best damn chocolate coated waffle cone in existence. And then you put like you put ice cream on it. You have just vanilla ice cream, that's blank max. But then later you put like friggin' chocolate vanilla swirl in your soft serve, and then you got like a cherry on the top, and you got like friggin' fudge on it and brownie and stuff. That's ornamentations. If you just want to be super, like some people like vanilla, but I mean you could put all this other stuff on it, that's awesome. You'll be amazing. That's the main point I'm saying, is that ornamentations can make or break you, but generally they'll just make you better unless RNG wants to make you their little plaything. Hi Sora. It's nice to hear you say hi. But this video is ending pretty soon, just because it's been going on for longer than it should, and we're just going over how damage is calculated. And I will just post the formula in the description at some point in time. And I hope you guys learned anything. I hope I wasn't too boring. I mean, there's 12 people watching, so I guess I did something right. But I do apologize for how long-winded this is, and I should have planned it out a bit better. But that is just the nature of my videos. They're usually just rants about topic. Insert requested topic here, talk about topic, and work through it together. So with that said, I'm going to head on out of here. I thank you guys for watching. Once again, I thank everyone who showed up for the AMA the other day. It was a great video. It was awesome. And I hope to see you guys online. And if you have any questions, whisper me, comment me anytime, and we'll get over it and we'll address that situation. So I'll see you guys later.